Storms. From huge complexes to small isolated downbursts. From green to blue to even red or orange. Storms can be pretty cool sometimes, but in today's video, we'll be talking about the mother of all storms, the supercell. Supercells are awesome, and in today's video, we'll be talking all about them. Now let's picture a setup day highly favorable for supercells. If you were to look outside, it'd probably look something like this. The sky would be full of small cumulus clouds. And as time goes on, towers will begin to build into thunderstorms. Our small thunderstorm will then continue to grow upscale as it merges with others. Now sheer orientation and quality will determine the type, size, and shape of our supercell. For example, if we have much more crosswise vorticity, then our supercell will look something like this. Instead of that mothership on the plane supercell look, we'll have more of a grungy, less noticeably rotating mesocyclone, as it'll be usually a point of rotation instead of the whole updraft appearing to rotate, as you can see here. Meanwhile, if we have more streamwise vorticity, then our supercell will evolve into that more classic supercell look as the whole mesocyclone will appear to rotate, as you can see here. And of course, there are many other supercell structures that some will go over and others that we won't in this video. And so now we'll go over key features of a supercell. Now, as you can see, we have our mesocyclone, our forward flank downdraft, and our rear flank downdraft. Now, our forward flank downdraft is our area where the precipitation from the supercell is being vented off. This is the downdraft of the supercell and can contain some strong winds and hail. Now, the mesocyclone is the rotating updraft of the storm. This is where pretty much most storm chasers are going to be concerned with the storm, as this is where the tornadoes form. And this is the coolest part of the storm, as it can provide some epic structure. Now, the rear flank downdraft is what forms that horseshoe shape in the supercell, as it's cool, dry air wrapping around the backside of the mesocyclone. And this is very important to tornado genesis and can be very dangerous, as it can also cause very strong winds. But now that we have our characteristics out of the way, we'll move on to types of supercells. Starting off with the HP or high precipitation supercell, it's known as this due to its wet RFD. And in my opinion, this makes them the most dangerous type of supercell, as it's almost impossible to see a tornado in them unless you're in a very dangerous spot known as the notch, which leaves you extremely vulnerable to coming in direct contact with a violently rotating column of air. Now we have the classic supercell, which is a lot less wet of an RFD than the HP supercell, usually a dry RFD, but of course sometimes you could get some rain bands in there. But the tornadoes are often much more visible than in the HP supercell. But yeah, there's not really much to be said about this one that we haven't already said. Usually your classic type of supercell, that's why it's called classic supercell. So moving on, we have the prettiest type of supercell, aka the LP or low precipitation supercell. This supercell is known as LP as it always has a very dry RFD, and usually aren't the most efficient tornado producers, but can often offer some very nice structure. Now moving on to radar characteristics, as you can see, this is an image of the quad state supercell as it was moving through Leachfield, and this is absolutely textbook structure on radar for a supercell. As you can see, supercells usually have a bean shape with the hook at the end on radar. And as for velocity, you can usually tell if your storm is rotating. And you can see this by when the greens touch the reds, especially this strongly as we had a EF4 tornado in process. And pretty much what this means is, since our radar is at Memphis, which is to the southeast of this, the reds are moving away from the radar and the greens are moving towards the radar, pretty much meaning that we have a strong instance of counterclockwise rotation in this area. But now that we have all that down, we'll go a bit into the dangers of these storms so that you can protect yourself and others around you. Because of course, supercells can be extremely dangerous as they can unleash strong winds and large hail. But of course, the main threat that everybody thinks of with supercells, tornadoes as well. Now, of course, if there are tennis ball sized chunks of ice falling from the sky or borderline hurricane force winds, you should stay in the house. Or if you're not in the house or away from the house, get to some sort of structure that can protect you from the elements. But when it comes to tornadoes, things can be quite different. Now, if you come under a tornado warning, don't sweat it. The first course of action is, if you have one, go to a storm shelter. If you don't have one of those, then go to the most interior room of your house or to your basement. Now, if you live in a mobile home, then just leave, as you'll be better off taking cover in the nearby ditch. But yeah, I know that I said I was gonna upload at least weekly or bi-weekly, which I technically did upload bi-weekly. I just had a bit of writer's block, and yeah, I was scouring for ideas when I came up with this one. But I'm back on track now, and all I'm gonna say is my next video is gonna be a little bit different. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and this is KB Weather out.